Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're cracking open the Zohar to explore one of its most incredible and, let's be honest, enigmatic visions, the Sixth Habitation. It's a realm described as being right at the threshold of heaven. Now, it reads like some kind of cosmic poetry, but as we're about to see, it might just be the blueprint for a system of almost unimaginable complexity and elegance.
In the Sixth Habitation, which is lofty and near to the kingdom of heaven, there are ships and rivers and seas. Right away you can feel it. This isn't just a description of a place, it's an invitation. It's asking us to step into a world built not out of matter, but out of pure spiritual dynamics and flow. So let's do that. Let's step into this vision together.
So I want you to imagine a space, vast, luminous, just hovering at the very edge of the divine. This isn't a place with solid ground. The Zohar describes it as being defined by movement, by flow. There's this single great river of light, what's often called the river that flows from Eden, and it emerges from some higher unseen source. And then it just fractals out. It branches into a totally countless number of channels and streams, and it's carrying the very essence of life across this whole celestial plane.
And on these luminous rivers, the text talks about Sephinot, which means ships or boats. But, we're not talking about vessels of wood and sail here. I want you to picture radiant containers of pure energy, just gliding silently and with this incredible sense of purpose. Each one is on a specific path, carrying precious cargo, souls on their ascent, prayers making their way up to the throne, and these little packets of divine influx, an energy the mystics call Shafa'ah, that are being distributed all throughout the cosmos.
Okay, now look deeper into these waters of light. The text says they literally teem with life. But these aren't fish, not mundane creatures. They're described as living, shimmering, sentient beings. Think of them as dynamic forms of consciousness that exist inside the flow, and they're actively participating in the system. They are part of the very fabric of this whole spiritual ecosystem. It's incredible.
And governing this entire system, overarching everything, are four immense, powerful currents. They're aligned with the cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west. And these are not chaotic tides, not at all. They move in a perfect, harmonious synchrony. It's like a celestial clockwork mechanism that dictates the direction, the pace, and the rhythm of every single boat and every stream within this amazing habitation.
And finally, overseeing this whole grand cosmic machine, there are guardians, blazing, powerful, angelic figures who stand at the helm of these currents. And listen, they are not passive observers. They are the active managers of this system, making sure that this divine rhythm continues, perfectly balanced and completely uninterrupted. I mean, it is a breathtaking vision. But what if it's describing something, well, something a bit more tangible?
So, we have this incredible, cinematic vision, right? Rivers of light, energy boats, angelic guardians. But what if it's more than just a beautiful story? What if this ancient mystical text isn't just poetry, but it's actually describing a highly sophisticated technical system, a kind of blueprint for how spiritual energy gets distributed, something we can actually understand with a very modern key?
It's amazing. When we look at this ancient vision through the lens of something like a distributed data network, all these mystical elements suddenly become incredibly logical. The rivers and seas, they're the data streams. Those radiant boats, they're transport packets. The four-directional currents, those are the master routing protocols. And the angelic guardians, well, they're the network controllers. It just clicks.
Okay, so let's break that down. The rivers are the fundamental pipes of the system. I mean, think of them like cosmic fiber optic cables. They're not just carrying random energy, they are carrying specific, meaningful information. The Zohar is clear. They carry life, they carry prayer, they carry the souls of the righteous, and that divine influx we mentioned, the Shefa'ah. It's a constant directed flow from a higher source, branching out to reach every single corner of existence.
So if the rivers are the data streams, then the Sephinot, the boats, well, they're the packets themselves. In modern networking, data gets broken into packets, and each one has a header that tells it where to go. These spiritual vessels function in exactly the same way. Each boat is its own independent energetic container with a very specific payload. A single soul, one particular prayer, a quantum of divine wisdom, and it has an intended destination. They're discrete, they're addressed, and they're absolutely purposeful.
So how do all these packets know where to go, right? That's the job of the four great directional currents. These are not just geographical markers. They're the system's master routing protocols. Seriously, think of them like the internet's TCP/IP. They create the logic and the pathways, the superhighways of this network, making sure that a packet of, say, loving kindness travels along the southern route while a packet of judgment follows the northern one. It's a system of perfect, structured order.
And who's managing all this traffic? The angelic guardians. Figures like Uriel, who the Zohar places in the west, are the master network controllers. They're not just guards, they are active system administrators. They manage the flow, they act as divine firewalls, they prevent data loss, and they ensure energy is distributed in an orderly way. So, if this is the network, what's the actual hardware it's running on?
All right, so now that we have the analogy down, let's pop the hood and see how this thing actually works. We're moving from the what to the how. We're about to unpack the Sephirotic machinery that makes this whole celestial network function. Now, the first thing to really get is that this is not a random or just metaphorical system in Kabbalistic thought. No way. It's described as a very precise piece of cosmic engineering. And its architecture, its very wiring, is built upon the foundational structure of the Kabbalistic tree of life, the Sephirot. So, the Sephirot of Netzach and Hod, which are the right and left pillars of the tree of life, they act as the directional engines that actually power these great currents. Then, all of this flow gets aggregated and channeled through Yesod, which acts like a central data hub or an API, preparing the influx for its final transmission. And the final destination? That's Malkut. That represents our physical world, where the end user receiving the output of this entire cosmic system.
But what powers this immense system? I mean, it's not self-sustaining. The ultimate energy source, the electricity running through these celestial wires, is the infinite divine light, the Or Ein Sof. This light flows down from the very high Sephiroth. We're talking sources like Keter, Chokmah, and Binah, the supernal realms of will, wisdom, and understanding. This pure, raw light is what animates the rivers, powers the boats, and fuels the entire system of cosmic distribution.
Okay, so we've got the big picture, the network architecture. Now let's zoom in on the individual elements inside the Sixth Habitation and really get into their deeper symbolic meaning. First up, the water. In Kabbalah, water is the classic, archetypal symbol for the flow of divine influx, or Shefa. It's the medium of life itself, a carrier of information and consciousness. In its constant motion, that flowing nature signifies that everything in the spiritual worlds is always in a state of giving and receiving. Nothing is ever static.
Next, the boats. As vehicles of transition, they symbolize the journey of a soul after it leaves the body, or maybe the path of a prayer going upwards. Each one is a totally purposeful vessel, a discrete packet of energy designed to carry its precious cargo, the soul, the prayer, through the system to make a change or complete a transition. And what about those shimmering sea creatures? While they represent the active, living consciousness within the flow itself, they are not passive at all. Think of them as dynamic processors. They're like filters and purifiers that can actually modify the information passing through the streams, which is a powerful reminder that this divine flow is alive, it's intelligent, it's responsive. Okay, let's get back to the overseers of this whole system. It's time to put some names and some specific functions to the guardians who manage this incredible four-directional matrix. You see, the Zohar and other mystical texts don't just say angels and leave it at that. They get very specific. So who are these controllers? Who are the archangels actually tasked with managing this immense flow of cosmic traffic? So the sources explicitly assign an archangel to each direction. To the south, you have the warm current of loving kindness, or chesed, and that's governed by Michael. To the north, you've got the powerful current of severity and judgment, Gevura, and that's managed by Gabriel. The eastern current of balance and healing, Tiferet, that's the domain of Raphael. And finally, to the west, the point of reception and illumination stands Uriel. Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand Uriel's role in the west. He's often associated with fire, yeah, but this is not a destructive fire. It is the illuminating fire of knowledge and of consciousness. You know, the west is the direction where the sun sets, where light is gathered. Uriel functions as that final checkpoint, that divine firewall at the edge of the network. His job is to process, to illuminate, and to prepare the divine influx before it finally descends and manifests in Malchut, which is our physical reality.
Look, I know this has been a really deep and complex explanation. So how can we make this system a little more relatable? Well, the sources actually give us two different ways to kind of picture this whole cosmic network in our minds.
So first, let's do the video game version.
Imagine you're in this massive cosmic water world level. Your character is a little boat of light, and it represents your soul or maybe a prayer you sent up. To progress, you have to navigate 4 giant currents: a warm, gentle one from the south, a cold, strong one from the north, a perfectly balanced one from the east, and a glowing one from the west. By solving puzzles related to these directions, you open up new pathways. And at the end of the level, the shining guardian, Uriel, he doesn't fight you. He gives you the final key to open the gate to the next world. Pretty cool, right?
Now, for the cosmic engineering version. For a more analytical mind, we can frame it like this. The Sixth Habitation is a doctrine that details a multi-layered transport system for spiritual quanta. This system is governed by 4 primary directional protocols, personified as Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. Their entire function is to ensure system integrity, perform load balancing of different energetic types, and guarantee the efficient and error-free transmission of data from the supernal network to the end-user network of Melkut.
We've seen the vision, we've analyzed the technology, we've even created models to help us understand it. But what is the point of it all? Let's bring everything together now and really get to the ultimate purpose of this magnificent system. Why does it even exist?
Through all of this incredible complexity, the rivers, the boats, the guardians, the Sephirotic engineering, the texts all suggest that it all comes down to and serves one singular, profound purpose. And that purpose is to serve as a living doctrine of flow. The very existence of the Sixth Habitation is a teaching in itself. It teaches us that the spiritual universe is not static. There are no dead ends. Everything, every soul, every thought, every ounce of divine energy is in constant, structured, and ordered motion, always moving from a source to a destination.
It is the master distribution hub. It's the critical link, the grand central station that connects our lower system, our world of Malchut, to the very threshold of the divine. Its whole purpose is to make sure that the flow of life, the content of our prayers, and the journey of our souls are not just lost in some cosmic void, but are routed correctly, processed properly, and ultimately reach their intended destination.
And so this ancient blueprint leaves us with a very modern and, I think, very personal question. If this system is real and our prayers and our souls are indeed packets of data being sent across this divine network, how can we, the users, make sure that our packets are properly formed and correctly addressed so they can navigate the currents and arrive safely at their destination?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.